So I'm David from Wired Magazine, and we're honored to have Melissa Yang here, who is a Chinese unicorn. Melissa is co-founder of a travel business which currently rents out about 300,000 rooms, mostly inside China, but increasingly outside China. And in 3 rounds of funding, it's reported that they have raised around $170 million at a valuation reported above $1 billion. And what's most interesting about her business, Tujia, is it's not the Chinese Airbnb, is it, Melissa?
No, it's not. And a lot of people call Tujia as China's Airbnb, but we are actually different from Airbnb in a few ways. We are similar to Airbnb in a way because both of us provide a sharing platform of alternative accommodations to connect travelers with homeowners. However, China is very different from the rest of the world. So in China market, Chinese travelers have a high expectation on level of services when they travel. So for instance, when my husband and I travel in US for over a decade, it's very easy, very common for us to stay in a villa and take off the trash when we leave. In China, if you ask a traveler, let's say he pays $100 to stay, and then you ask him to take off the trash, most of them would not like it. So that's one difference. Another thing is there's usually a trust issue in China compared with the United States and Europe. Because of that, when we start our business, we actually put a lot of attention. So all the listings we have on the site actually provide services. We also made a lot of effort to build trust. Like we inspect each every properties to make sure all the photos are authentic and build a reputation for the travelers.
So I mentioned that you're not the Chinese Airbnb, but it's generally because whenever you're written about in the media, it's often in the context of Airbnb. But essentially, you're doing a similar service for a Chinese market. People can list their properties. You take a commission around 12% if somebody rents out an apartment or a room.
Right.
You say the difference is primarily people expect a new layer of service and also a different approach to trust. They won't just click because there's a photo. Can we describe, though, the collaborative economy, the sharing economy that we've known from Western companies in a similar way in China? Is that business sector established as a separate part of the economy?
I think the sharing economy in general just started in China. And in the vacation rental business, it's actually China started later than US and Europe. So like the vacations, just more and more people start to take vacations just in the recent years. So it's still a new business and early stage in China.
So tell us a bit about the name Tujia. What does it mean if we're translating it?
Oh, so I'm curious, how many of you understand the meaning of Tujia? Okay, I say probably less than 20%. So Tujia is a Chinese name. It means home on a journey. So basically, we provide vacation homes for travelers.
Makes sense. And share some numbers. I talked about the number of properties you have. What can you tell us about the numbers of people using the service, the areas that you're operating in? Share some secret numbers with our little intimate gathering.
Yeah, so for the supplier side, currently we have over 300,000 properties domestically and overseas. And we have, because one thing we look at a lot is the coverage. Basically, we want to provide some accommodations for people whenever they go. So we currently cover over 250 destinations domestically in China, and also over 100 destinations overseas. We pretty much cover the popular destinations people like to go. And another thing we care a lot, because of the trust issue I talk about, we actually care a lot about the customer satisfaction. So I just got the number an hour ago. So for the month of July, because our physical month ended on July 25th, so the ratings of overall satisfaction from our customers in July is 4.72 out of 5 as a full score. And 93% of the customers say they would recommend to families and friends and would like to come again. So we're really happy about the overall feedback from our customers.
How do you recruit the customers in the first place? How do people find you?
Okay. At the beginning, at the early stage of our company, we rely heavily on the word of mouth. So, as I shared, 93% of the customers actually recommend to their friends. So we see a lot of customers are referred by friends or families. Then in the recent, I would think in the recent 3 quarters, because the number of property grow very fast, we actually start to do some advertisement for online and offline. So we do typical like search engine marketing and search engine optimization. The third one is we actually get great resources support from other investors or partners. For example, Ctrip is the largest OTA site in China, and Ctrip is also one of our investors. So on Ctrip's website, like ctrip.com, there's a special channel for Tujia vacation rental. So it helps us to build the brand, also bring traffic to our site.
Because I guess you have to educate the Chinese consumer that they should both be renting out their unused property, but also staying in a place that isn't an official hotel.
Correct. And I think the market need is there. So particularly for a lot of people, more and more people are doing family travel recently. Like for instance, I have a 7-year-old daughter. So when I travel with my parents, my daughter and my husband, 5 of us. If I would stay in a hotel, I have to book 2 hotel rooms. And I cannot guarantee these 2 rooms are connected together. So we have to separate at night, which I really, I'm very busy at work. So it's hard I really love to spend time with my family. So then, I'm a typical customer of Tujia. So for those family travelers, they can book a 2-bedroom apartment instead, and they can stay together, they can cook. So it's a much better experience, as well as a better value proposition. So that's why people love Tujia and get the word out quickly.
So you started the business as co-founder 2011.
Yes, at the end of 2011.
And how big is it? How many staff do you have in Beijing you're based? And
so Tujia's headquarters in Beijing, we have a little bit over 300 people, primarily like the product team and the marketing team.
But you also have a wider pool of employees working locally, servicing the apartments, photographing the apartments.
Yes, so out of the 300,000 properties, about a little bit over 10,000 properties are managed by ourselves. So we have about 3,000 people in regions to do housekeeping, check-in, check-out, doing the photograph stuff.
So this is a fast-growing startup with more than 3,000 employees now.
Yes.
It's a brutal question, but are you at that level where you're making more money than you're spending?
We are not profitable yet. So actually, I attended a conference yesterday in Four Seasons. So I told people, since we are not profitable yet, that's why I took the economy class flight to come here from Beijing. And I was not staying in Four Seasons. Actually, I'm staying in a cheap hotel in Cologne to just save some money for the company. So because the opportunities of both the traveler side and also supply side have been great, so we actually focus to spend money to grow the business instead of making money for profitability.
The one problem that a lot of property rental businesses have had and other collaborative economy businesses have had is the regulators don't understand. They stand in the way. They tell people in cities like New York, you're not allowed to list your property. How have you overcome that challenge in China?
We are not fully overcome it yet, but we are making progress. And as you may know, in China, actually China government plays even a bigger role in business in general. So vacation rental is a new business, and it's not well-regulated business. So when we start the company, one thing we have been focusing on is to collaborate with the government. As a fact, we actually have signed agreement with over 160 governments, so on different levels, like province level and the city level. And something great happened actually this week I would like to share. So on Tuesday this week, Prime Minister Li Keqiang actually chaired an executive meeting of the State Council. And during the meeting, he pointed out China government should advance with the times and soften restriction on new Internet Plus concept industries, such as online vacation rental and car rental sectors. So this is really great news. It was announced on Wednesday night, 2 days ago, nationwide by CCTV. So because, as you may know, Tujia actually was the first company to bring the concept of online vacation rental to China market. And Prime Minister Li's meeting actually shows China government actually moving to be more supportive in this new business sector.
It's always good to have the Prime Minister on side. Maybe we can give him a special Rise discount now if you want to offer him
We would
one.
love to. I need to check with my partner first.
The lean startup. What does it mean, though, collaborating with the government? What does it mean in specific about regulation? Does that mean getting certificate from the mayor of each city you're operating in?
So, one thing is, since it's not well regulated, so some property managers who actually sell those rooms may not pay, some of them may not pay tax. That's one instance that government care about. Other things is level of services may not be very good as hotels. So I can give you example one example like what we have been doing. As you may know, like Sanya is so-called called Oriental Hawaii. So this is a very popular vacation destinations in China. So we actually work with the local government in Sanya. We already built a Sanya Home Vacation Rental Association. So we actually put a standard to categorize different property managers, ask them to pay tax for the government, and also how manage their business and transaction. So that's one thing we have been doing to make sure, like, one is report more tax to the government. Second is, more importantly, like, make sure the standard and the different standard can be formalized, so we can, the property managers can serve the customers better with better services and quality.
Another concern that the government's had lately is the stock markets haven't been doing fantastically. Real estate prices haven't been going up like they were. How concerned are you running a business like Tujia about what's happening in the wider economy?
Actually, that has a very positive impact on Tujia's business because Tujia, from the inventory side, if the house prices keep going up, a lot of people may not care about to generate extra income, from their second or third homes. Now the house price, keeps flat or even going down. So more and more people want to actually generate revenue from their homes. So it's easier for us to get better properties now. Second, from travelers' perspective, since the economy is not great, so more and more of them care about value instead of just prices. So that helps our customer demand as well.
So tell me a bit about Melissa's journey. You didn't start off as an entrepreneur based here. You were a prodigy in engineering and coding and went to the States. Just briefly tell us how you got into this position.
Okay, so actually I love travel, and I went to the computer science department in Tsinghua and also in University of Washington. I joined Expedia as a developer, and I became a dev director there, so in charge of online business at Expedia. So then, after 6 years there, I joined a startup company in Seattle called Escapia, and we were actually working on to build a platform for vacation rental. It was acquired by HomeAway a few years ago. So then I came back to China and co-founded Tujia about 3 years ago.
And I don't see that many women as co-founders of big companies in Europe. Wired is always struggling to find more women-led companies to write about. How unusual is it in China, and does it make any difference anyway?
So it's not common. Still, unfortunately, it's still not very common for people to go to engineering schools or even play a technical role in China. And I would think, comparing with US, I would think percentage-wise, maybe there are more women, females, female engineers than the States in general. And as for work, to be honest, I really don't feel much difference being a female, even in the business side or engineer side. Because I feel maybe because I'm lucky, I feel like the companies I've been working on are all good and fair environment. People. The company judges judging people by performance instead of gender. So being an Asian or being a female, I don't really feel much difference at all.
Do you feel, I mean, you're CTO, that's your role,
Yes.
although you're a co-founder. Do you feel some obligation to encourage more young women to go into tech?
Yeah, definitely. A very example that is in Tujia. So we were founded 3 years ago. So one of the female developers, actually we hired her from Microsoft. She was very quiet and she works really hard and grow very fast. So just a year ago, we started to build more and more mobile business. She actually became a lead to currently lead our backend of the mobile team right now. So it's very encouraging and awarding for me to see her grow. And I would like to see more and more female developers or engineers down the road. And by the way, I have a 7-year-old daughter, so she's taking a summer break in Seattle right now. So last week, she took the first programming class in Seattle.
And you can invest in her startup afterwards. So last question from me. So $1 billion company isn't cool. What's really cool is $1 trillion company these days. Tell us where Tujia goes next.
I really feel very optimistic about the China market because Tujia is a platform. It's a platform, so it's all about the supply and demand. On the supply side, China actually is the largest housing country. It's estimated there are 50 million vacant homes in China right now. So we have huge potentials to better utilize those vacant homes. And on the travel side, China's economy has been growing steadily. So more and more people would love to travel, and more people want to have more personalized experience instead of just going through a hotel. They want to have better taste of the local culture. So for both sides, I feel very bright, about our business down the road.
Can we thank Melissa Yang of Tujia?
Thank you. Thanks, David.